What would a Saturday night be without Spooky Southcoast getting all screwed up?
The wonders of modern technology.
Why do we do this anymore, really? Why do we keep doing this? We're in the internet age now. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this aggravation. We sit here and we wait for the Red Sox to do whatever they're going to do, and then we start trying to do the show, and we can't do the show.
But we're doing it now.
Whatever. Let's move on. Sorry to sound so aggravated, people. Good evening. Welcome to Spooky Southcoast. Tim Weisberg here, along with science advisor Matt Moniz. The silent assassin Matt Costa is still a working stiff. He's not independently wealthy yet, so we need to work on that for him, though. We need to work on that for all of us.
Yes, don't we?
Then he won't have any Spooky Southcoast broadcasting problems. We'll have our own network then. Well, we do. We have Spooky TV, but we'll have our own multimedia conglomerate network. So we are here to talk with you about the paranormal, as we are each and every Saturday night. And tonight we will have, of course, an abbreviated show because it's a Saturday night in the summertime. And let's pay attention to the Red Sox so they can go nowhere. I don't know. I don't mean to crap all over the Red Sox. We have a very fine family of sponsors here who love the Red Sox and love broadcasting with the Red Sox, and so do we. We just get frustrated. We're only messing around. But it does look like it's going to be a smooth, free and easy, Spooky Southcoast kind of October this year. So we don't have to worry about Red Sox playoff games getting in our way. But we will be talking tonight in just a little bit with our guest, Audrey Starborn, who's going to talk with us about the Experiencers Speak event that's coming up on September 8th. And yes. We will talk with her about some of the speakers that are coming in for that, and we'll talk to her about some of her own experiences that led to her forming this conference, along with her sister, Debbie. And we will also be talking to Chris Balzano, our content director here at Spooky Southcoast, about the Balzano Curse, which a lot of people are wondering, what's he talking about? It's one of those things where, at first, you kid around about it, but then that kidding starts to get a little bit more serious. And so we'll talk with Chris about that coming up a little bit later on in the program. But we want to remind everybody out there that tickets are still available for our upcoming Legend Trips event at the Fearing Tavern in Wareham, Massachusetts. It's going to be in 4 different buildings, all with a very long history in Wareham. The Fearing Tavern, which was built in the 1690s, the one-room schoolhouse, the Union Chapel, and the Methodist Meeting House, which were all from the 1800s. So you're going to have your chance to get in there and check these places out firsthand, along with the Spooky Crew, Jeff Belanger. We're going to have Stephanie Burke and Tiffany Rice. Sorry, I don't know why I'm screwing everything up tonight, but we'll have them on hand for readings and also to be part of the investigations. Tickets are $99. That includes lectures, a live taping of 30-odd minutes, and dinner, as well as hours of investigation. Now, people have been asking me, people who have never been on a Legend Trips event have been asking me, it must be hard to go to these places and actually have a paranormal experience or capture evidence or even, conduct a serious investigation with 60, 70, 80 people in attendance. Well, you're right. That would be the case. But we break everybody down into small groups, and by doing that, it ensures that there's never really any more than 10 or a dozen people in that building at a time. So it works out really well, and people do get to have an intimate investigation experience. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be as great of an investigation as if you were in these places by yourself, but the point of Legend Trips is that we get you into places that you might not be able to get into by yourself. So, and you also get to learn from other investigators, and you get to help out first-time investigators, so it's a good community building thing as well. So just go to legendtrips.com or spookysouthcoast.com for more information and to purchase your tickets, because when we get closer here, when we get out of the summer months and into the fall, those are going to go quick. So take advantage of them while you can. We're also working on some other cool Legend Trips possibilities. I can't let the cat out of the bag just yet about some of the things that might be going on, but we're working on something right now in conjunction with an upcoming convention that, if it works out, it's going to be really, really cool. But we'll hold off on that till we can actually announce something. But let's just say that even if we don't work things out with Legend Trips and this convention, we'll still be talking about it because it's going to be a great event. So speaking of great events, why don't we bring on Audrey? And I should probably have had her on the phone already.
Yeah, that would have been recommended.
I didn't realize before we started that there are 0 commercials available in the system for us to take a break. So I will ask Moniz to do that if he can. And do you need the number?
It would help.
Okay. So, and also I want to remind people, too, that our new book, myself and Christopher Balzano, is available. It's called Haunted Objects, Stories of Ghosts on Your Shelf. And it's available pretty much everywhere where books are sold, and also on Amazon. And it's become quite the popular book online. We're getting some good reviews. We're getting people actually writing to us about their own haunted objects experiences. It's right in the middle there. And they're also wondering if there's going to be a sequel. So who knows? There might just be. We'll have to find out what the publisher wants to do. But if you have a haunted object, or if you've had an experience with one, you want to share it with us, you can just email us spookycrew@spookysouthcoast.com. That's the way to get a hold of all of us. That email goes to myself, to Moniz, to Chris Balzano, to Matt Costa. So if ever you're looking to get a hold of any of us, spookycrew@spookysouthcoast.com is the way. We're also working on trying to get Moniz to get his own Facebook fan page. It's been the hot topic of conversation in the chat room all night tonight. So we've been trying to push him into that, because he doesn't believe me when I tell him that there is fan interest in Matt Moniz. And we have Katie here in the studio with us. We're gonna make you talk into the microphone for a minute. You guys know Katie. She lives in one of the most haunted houses around, and you can actually attest to the fact that there are Matt Moniz fans. You've seen them.
There are.
And it's a little scary, isn't it, when you think about it?
Yes.
Because he's not exactly somebody who, when you think of Matt Moniz, you don't really think of public figure. You think more of hermit, living in the woods, or in his case on an island, writing a manifesto.
Yes.
Laying booby traps around the property.
You're right.
And calling anybody that knocks on the door that damn guy from the government again.
Hey, you kids, get off my lawn.
Yeah, except, in his mind, though, they're not kids. They're actually there to expatriate him from the country. How's things working there? Are you able to...
No.
Oh, you got to press the button at the top of the phone. Hold it right now. There you go.
There we go.
Sorry, I forgot he's an iPhone guy. He doesn't know how to work an Android.
I'm also not getting a dial tone to call out.
He's got mad skills right here.
Hold your finger over the disconnect button for a minute. Now pull back. Now press VIP. No, don't press air yet. Don't press that yet. Now dial. Hit VIP. Not that VIP, the green VIP. All right, tell you what. I'm going to find a commercial that we can take. We'll be right back here in just a few minutes here on Spooky South Coast.
The WBSM covers your neighborhood. AM 1420. WBSM.
Keep your legs as much in the pool. You can keep working out, and you can maintain your
Today we want to find out
flexibility and
how
fitness.
big
I did that
a good marriage
within
is.
just
how
very,
many
very
people
few
it
weeks of my
Yes.
hip fracture when I could
Let's
barely
go
walk.
find out.
So right in the
How
pool,
big is
already
this?
started to swim.
I can't measure.
Started to do some pool walking, supported my body.
It's worldwide.
It's
I
a
would say
good
the biggest
comeback trail.
universe.
And I hope a lot of people are inspired by the Olympics. I think the Olympics are great for the sport of swimming and for public awareness of swimming as a healthy pastime. Because a lot of people are saying, man, I want one of those bodies. I want to look like Ryan Lochte, or I want to look like Michael Phelps. Or the gals are looking at some of the female swimmers and saying, yeah, they got some really, shapely torsos. And, so that can motivate a lot of people to get in the water. And you don't need to be an Olympian to experience the benefits. All right, we'll take more phone calls momentarily. 1-800-544-7070. Dr. Ronald Hoffman here with the weekend edition of Health Talk.
Yo, what's up? Right Brand Bacon here. I'm the bigger, better bacon. Bacon that makes a bold statement. We're talking major slices of thick, meaty bacon. I'm so big you could serve me to the presidents on Mount Rushmore. When I'm on the grill sizzling, I smell so incredible, it attracts guys faster than a half-price bikini car wash. I'm so tender.
Right
so
Brand Bacon. Bigger, better bacon. Find out more at biggerbetterbacon.com.
If you depend on prescription opioid painkillers or heroin to get through each day, you may ask yourself, how did I get here? Withdrawal and rehab seem like scary and difficult roads, but there is a different way. I know because I was just like you and I found it at turntohelpnow.com. At turntohelpnow.com, I learned about different ways to get help, including those in a private setting without the need for daily visits. Find your courage and go to turntohelpnow.com today.
Shaquille O'Neal for Icy Hot.
If you've got pain, you need the patch.
The Icy Hot Patch. Powerful, targeted, fast-acting pain relief that stays put without the mess. Icy to dull the pain, hot to relax it away. In a variety of sizes, from back, shoulders, knees, even arthritis. So you're covered whenever and wherever you're hurt. Stop pain right at the source with Icy Hot Patches.
Pain's no match for the Icy Hot Patch.
For temporary topical pain relief, use only as directed.
Summer is finally back in action, and so is Target Pharmacy. They have everything to help keep you breathing out of both nostrils and staying active and out and about where you belong. Target Pharmacy is full of innovations like color-coded pill bottles you can actually read and $4 generics at a price that's easy to swallow. And here's to having a pharmacy with a Target attached. Target Pharmacy is here to give you a healthy dose of whatever you need to feel better this summer.
Imagine if your brain took 5 seconds longer than everyone else's to understand something. By the time you understood the question, everyone else would already have the answer. Now imagine you're only in 2nd grade.
And it's happening day after day, week after week, month after month.
Because almost half of all the parents who think their child has a problem learning wait a year or more before getting them help. That's a year too long.
Kids with learning disabilities are smart. They just learn differently.
Don't wait. Call 1-888-GREAT-MIND, 1-888-GR8-MIND, or visit www.aboutld.org now, because you can't imagine the difference it will make.
Spooky, welcome back to Spooky Southcoast. Tim Weisberg here, along with science advisor Matt Moniz, and we've got Katie in the studio. Dude, I don't know if we've never given your last name out on the air, so I thought we wouldn't do that just for privacy reasons, but it's up to you if you want to share. I want to turn your mic on, though. Your microphone will be on. We actually have a call on line 1, so let's take that call first before we dive into the discussion with Audrey Starborn, and hopefully the phone lines play along. We'll get into the story in just a minute about why that phone line issue has me concerned, but let's take this call first. Good evening. You're on Spooky South Coast. How are you?
Tim, it's Taylor Cormier. How are you?
Hey, Taylor. How's it going?
I forgot to tell you guys, the VIP line is not working.
Thank you so much for letting us know.
Neither is line 2.
Okay. Good thing that we never really have that many calls backed up.
Have a great show, guys.
Thanks. Have a good one. Bye. That was awesome. So, hey, at least we know that Taylor is listening. So we know that whenever we have problems, we have somebody who is understanding and appreciative of what's going on. So, all right. Well, as I mentioned, we do normally have issues when we try to connect with Audrey or Sister Debbie. It's the way that it goes with them.
It's not just us. It's every show that they've pretty much ever been on. There's a technical glitch that happens every time. Almost without fail.
And it's one of those things where, the outside observer looks at it and says, oh, maybe they're just trying to play this up for dramatic effect. But no, because they're trying to get their message out, and they keep getting stopped from getting that message out. So you would think that sooner or later, they would just not have that happen. But no, it's definitely the real deal. So hopefully we can keep things rolling. We know that in this case, at least, it's an equipment failure here on our part, and it's not just in relation to this interview. So we will bring Audrey on the air. Audrey, are you there? Hello, Audrey. Oh, let me try now.
Hey.
There you are.
Oh, God, I just had this weird noise, and it just kind of shut off, and you were gone. So I don't know.
No, that was me. I just did that on purpose for dramatic effect. I turned the phone button off.
Don't do that.
I was just trying to set things up a little bit there. But how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you? It's been a while since I've talked to you guys.
Oh, we are spooktacular. Well, you must have talked to Moniz.
Oh, yeah, I talk to Matt all the time. And Katie, I haven't seen her in a while. Hi, Katie.
Hey.
But we've been talking for a few weeks now about the Experience to Speak event that's coming up on September 8th. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you have planned for that event?
Oh, wow. Let's see. It's on September 8th. It's going to be held in Gorham, Maine. It's about, I'd say, an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours outside of Boston. So right in the Portland area. So it's really not, far out as far as Maine goes. I mean, Maine, you could drive for 12 hours and still not, be through the state. So we're kind of on the border of New Hampshire. Our event takes place a week after the Exeter, New Hampshire's UFO Fest that's going on the 1st. And we will be set up there selling tickets for Experiencers Speak. It's an all-day event. We open the doors at 9 o'clock. We're going to have our opening presentation probably around 10. And then, the speakers start, right after that, and they go all the way up until 10 o'clock at night. So it's going to be a full day with just one lecture after another. We've got people coming from all over the U.S. and Canada to tell their stories. And, of course, we've got some pretty big names, including Travis Walton, Kathleen Martin, Peter Robbins, of course, Matt Moniz will be there.
You were doing good right until you got to that point with the big names.
And we've also got Christopher Bledsoe Sr., who was on the Discovery Channel UFOs Over Earth, the Fayetteville incident. Terrell Copeland, he's been on the ABC Primetime Outsiders show that we did, and UFO Hunters. And we've just got, so many of them, I can't even, begin to get into to everybody. But every one of them is amazing, either a researcher in the field or abductees. So it's going to be great. We will have food available, and also on the first floor of the building is going to be where we're going to have vendors set up and healers and tarot readers. So there'll be something to do, to wander around just so you're not in a chair all day long. So, it should be a pretty intense day. I mean, just the energies that are going to be there and, the connections with people and the message that gets out. That's what it's all about.
You will find, though, you may be surprised to find there will be people that will sit in their chair for the entire day.
That will be good. Get up and stretch, but, it's going to be one of those things where I think you're just going to be so captivated by the stories that, time will fly by, and before you know it, it's going to be 10 o'clock at night. So, I wouldn't be surprised if people were glued to their chairs.
Now,
so, it's going to be a great day.
I don't mean this to sound flip in any way, and I mean this with utter seriousness, but is there any concern on your part that when you gather together this many people who have been abductees that you may be asking for trouble?
Well, I wouldn't consider it trouble. There could be something out of this world, obviously, that happens, but, I'm at the point now where, whatever happens is going to happen, and, it's meant to be. So, we are gathering in a group. A bunch of us will be actually sleeping, and, we're all going to come to my house and, camp out and stay in one location, quite a few of us. So, yeah, I'll be surprised if the equipment works or if anybody can, record. It's just going to be so much energy there. And who knows, by September 8th, they could show up. You never know.
True.
It's going to be heading on to the end of the year, and, a lot can change, from here, till then. So
it would be bad news, though, if, everybody gathers together and 45 minutes before he's supposed to go on, the keynote speaker, Travis Walton, the guy that everybody's coming to see, all of a sudden he disappears. That
Right.
that wouldn't be good. Although you're gonna get a lot of those jokes, I'm sure, over the course of the day. When somebody runs to the bathroom, where'd he go? Did they come and take him away?
Right.
No.
Right, or it could be just an empty hall. People wandering around looking for everybody. So who knows? Tumbleweeds.
But on this show, we do deal with a lot of people who question the idea of abductions, and a lot of our listeners, they're not really sure. And it's one of those things where you might not be convinced until it actually does happen to you. So this might be a good chance for them to go and check out and really talk to these people and understand, this is a profound experience that has happened to these people. Even if you don't choose to believe it, something happened to these people that have changed their lives and affected who they are as people. And you may have a greater understanding for the phenomenon.
Yeah, if anything, you'll learn a lot because, you'll see that these people are just everyday people. It affects all different cultures and religions and, races and both sexes, and it's just such a variety of people in one room. I mean, there's 20 of us that are going to be speaking, so, that alone, we're just coming from all over the country, and everyone has a different story. We're all different ages. We've all been in different locations when these things have happened. We never met each other, before. So just listening to these stories and how similar they are to one another, knowing that, it's people that didn't get together and say, hey, let's make all this up and let's play this, because that's not it. We couldn't make this up if we wanted to. It's that deep, and there's that many details that, you'd really have to be the ultimate science fiction writer to come up with this, and to have it coming out of, 20 different people's mouths and all different places all over the world and different times. It's an amazing thing. And, this is a good place for the skeptics to come. The speakers will all be set up so you can approach them. They're very approachable. You can talk to them, ask them questions, get your answers, look them in the eye, and see for yourself that, they're obviously telling the truth, because they're not going to be staring at the floor and kicking their feet. They're going to look at you and say, yeah, this happened. And, it's different when you meet somebody face to face. You get that first impression that, hey, this guy, this girl is telling the truth. So, yeah, it's going to be amazing. And, it's just about getting the message out and gathering. And, a big thing for us, too, is to be connected with one another, because we all have a bond, that kind of, the minute we meet, it's like a family connection, I guess, or a long-lost friend. So it's really a great feeling, and it's going to be, it's some intense energies and really great messages, and just a all-around great informative day for everyone.
And if people want to purchase tickets, which of course are only $20.12, which is a nice little nod to the year that we're in and the shift that we're undergoing. But if people want to get a hold of tickets, what's the best way?
They're going to have to contact me. They can go to the Experiencers Speak Facebook page. There's also a blog, Experiencers Speak blog page, too. And they can contact me, and my phone number is 774-766-2558. They will be available at the door, but they're going to be limited by then. Like I said, we're going to be hitting the Exeter Fest on the 1st, so it's best to purchase them ahead of time. If you do get them at the door, they will be $25, just because we don't want to make change, and, it's kind of last minute. So, a couple extra dollars for somebody to sit out in the sun and take money all day instead of being able to be part of it is what we're going to do. We're also going to be selling tickets at the Gardens of Atlantis. It's a healing and metaphysical center in Dayton, Maine. They're having a psychic fair on the 26th of August, and that's also the bed and breakfast where Peter and Travis and Kathy and Matt and Chris Balzano will be staying. She's got a beautiful place. It's a huge old Victorian home. It's just gorgeous, and I wanted to make sure that those people were kind of kept separate from the mainstream hotels, because there's so many people that are going to be there for that event that I don't think they would get any rest if they were.
Because you don't want to put Moniz in a mainstream hotel.
Yeah, they'll be attacked by some attackers.
I actually had the pleasure during our Slater Mill event of staying in the same hotel as Matt Moniz, and I was cornered by the head of housekeeping in the hallway. Like, "You'll not bring him back no more." So I didn't mean that to sound stereotyping, but that's what she sounded like. So you'll not bring him back. I
now, as far as tickets, Audrey sent me about 20, and we have some here at Spooky. If people want to write to us, we can also facilitate sale of tickets too.
Sure.
A limited
And
amount.
I will be replacing them, as you need them to. So just let me know when you need some. I'll send you some more.
Right. So if anybody locally wants to purchase tickets, just get in touch with us. Spooky Crew at SpookySouthcoast.com, or come on by during the show. We'll make arrangements.
Why don't we give some tickets away?
Oh, we can certainly do that if you'd be interested. But we can't do it tonight.
Okay.
Because
our phone system.
We have you on the regular phone line, and if somebody calls in to win them, they're going to knock you off. So. But when the VIP line is fixed, we'll be glad to do that.
Yeah, definitely give a pair away, and get some callers and some interest, and definitely, getting the word out is the main thing now. So,
right, and of course we plan on talking it up all the way up until the event. But now we should let people know, though, that this is being put together under the banner of your organization, Starborn Support. I mean, and we should really let people know what Starborn Support is all about.
Yeah, sure. Starborn Support is a support group, and we also do, research and investigations for UFO sightings, but we concentrate mostly on the abductee. We work directly one-to-one with the people that need help and give them guidance and just, support where they need it. Being an abductee myself, I know how hard it is to find that kind of support. And, even if you talk to your family and they pretend to listen, they just they don't understand. And there's only, so much that they can do to help. Just somebody that has been through it can give you a whole other level of understanding. We also hold abductee support group meetings. We have one coming up on August 18th, and that's also in Maine. These are confidential, closed groups where we just get together and talk about anything we need to and just give each other support. So August 18th is our next meeting, and, we will welcome abductees, so they can contact me at that same number if they're interested in coming to the support groups. And, it's just, we started the group in 2006, and it just, took off from there. It was just one of those things that grew overnight, and I never, planned on it to get like this. But, I'm really happy that we've been able to help so many people. I mean, we've helped people from all over the world that have called. I mean, even if it's just one time we talked to them, they reached out to us and they got what they were searching for. But most of our people, a lot of them will be at Experiencers Speak, we've formed kind of lifelong bonds and gotten to know each other through, email and phone. So this will be kind of a reunion of sorts for me. I'll get to actually, meet these people and hug them and talk to them, face to face, because I've been working with some of these people since 2006. So it's really personal and exciting for me, to meet this wonderful group of people.
And of course, the website for Starborn Support is starbornsupport.com.
Yes. Yep.
And
there is a phone number there, which is the hotline, which is actually the same number that you call to get tickets. You can, people can call me 24 hours a day. I know that, a lot of this stuff happens at 3 in the morning, so call me at 3 in the morning. You don't have to wait. Usually I'm up at the same time, too. So it's not a problem. I know how it is to come back from an experience and be scared and with nowhere to go, and nobody to talk to. And so a lot of times, right when you get back and you realize what happened is the time when you need support the most. So, I've had many people call me, crying and scared, and that's what it's all about. I mean, that's why I'm here. So, working with these people and giving them a place and someone to turn to is what I do. So,
well, I was going to say we have about 10 minutes left in the segment here, but I do want to ask you, in as much as you want to share with us, about your own experiences, about what happened to you and your sister that led to the formation of Starborn Support.
Sure. I have a twin sister, and we're both lifelong abductees. Actually, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock on National Geographic Channel, our show that we just did, the documentary, The Secret History of UFOs, plays again, and you'll be able to get some kind of an idea from the interview that they did there. But, it started when we were very young, as far back as we can remember. The beings would come in our room, and we used to call them the bald man, and we didn't want to go to sleep because the bald man was coming. And, our parents, would just be like, oh, there's no such thing, go back to bed. And in the meantime, we're scared to death and knowing that these things are coming. And writing journals, we kept a lot of pictures and descriptions of what would happen in our journals. My mother had found them one day and looked at the pictures and, read the stories and thought, wow, these girls have really good imaginations and they're really talented at this art. And she was in the store one day and walked by Whitley Strieber's Communion book when it first came out and saw the cover of that book and just almost, we hit the floor because it was the same being that was in our journal. And, of course, the journals have since disappeared. She kept them in a safe location, and when she went to retrieve them, they were gone, which is no big surprise. But Debbie and I would, endure these visits for many years, and, they continue to this day. We do have different races that are coming for us now, and it seems to have taken a more positive turn, I guess, to put it. It's not so scary anymore. We've learned to get rid of the fear, and it's a lot easier to handle when you get rid of that fear. A lot of abductees that I work with, I tell them, I know it's really hard, but the fear is what is actually making it a negative experience. Now, the beings that come for us are completely telepathic, so when you're scared, they're scared. When you feel pain, they feel pain. And, that's the way it is. So when you get rid of that fear, which is very hard to do, I still haven't conquered it, especially when some, certain beings come. Easier to deal with the more human-like beings because their energies and appearance are much like ours. Mm-hmm. The other ones aren't. They actually feel different, energy-wise, and just it's a very, very scary thing. But you are able to communicate with them though telepathically. So yeah.
Have they given you any kind of explanation as to why that they continue to do this?
Well, they have told me at one point, and my sister, that they were. We asked them, what are you doing? And they said, we're doing. What did they say? They're upgrading or altering our DNA, and said that they were going to do it for enlightenment purposes.
Your own DNA or the DNA of mankind?
I guess it was, I don't know. That was, it was directed at us. So I imagine, as abductees, or I don't know. That's a good question. But it seems that abductees, the families experience it. So it's like it runs through generations. So obviously they've been altering family lines for a long time. There's some abductees. I know of one who's 80, and his grandmother and great-grandmother had experiences. So that's hundreds of years right there in that family alone. So you got to think that if they've been altering DNA and working in family lines, that at some point, this is going to, it's going to evolve, I guess. On its own, so it's pretty interesting. And now that you mentioned that, I don't know.
Have they given explanation at all as to, or have you asked why it has to be done by force and why they can't try to maybe get a volunteer program going or even why it has to be such a scary experience. Why can't they kind of explain in advance to the people that they are going to abduct?
And that's, some of the most frustrating moments, and that's the most frustrating part of this whole thing is, but, you ask them questions like that, and they'll give you an answer like, you have to find out on your own, or everything you need to know is inside you laying dormant, and it will awaken as you need to know. So it's those answers to the questions are sometimes more frustrating than the question itself. But I know that they had told me at one point that, there's some people that are abductees and some people that are just experiencers.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they said it like, I guess when they, how do I put it where it'll make sense? I guess when they seed the souls on this planet, or they're, I guess that makes sense. When they seed the souls on this planet, there's 3 ways to do it. There's like the star seeding program, which the egg and the sperm and the soul meet at conception. And then there's the walk-in program, which is when somebody dies, like say a baby dies, and then a new soul steps in and it comes back to life. That's another way to put the soul in. Now with the abductee, they actually have to physically put a fetus or the sperm and the egg into a human mother, so they have to actually put their hands on it. Now, as this fetus grows and is born and is developed, they have to actually continue to physically take them to work on them and upgrade them, while the star seeds and walk-ins can pretty much evolve and everything happens on its own for whatever reason. I mean, that's the 3 ways that they explained to me were brought here. So the ones that are actually physically put in have to be physically altered. The ones that are made as star seeds at conception can continue on their own, as well as the walk-ins have already, evolved to the point where it can progress on its own.
I mean, it sounds to me, and of course you've dealt with these beings, and I hope to never have to myself, but you would probably know better than I, but it sounds to me like it's almost no different than what our zoologists do, our biologists, where we tag things out in the wild, we release them, and then we bring them back in every once in a while to kind of see how things are going.
We do the same thing with feedstock.
Hmm.
And the perfect example would be the liger. The liger can only be created in a zoo. And in nature, the lion and tiger would never be together, and the species itself as a cub will not survive because of the size of it. So the natural selection wouldn't happen. So when they do this in a zoo, they have this monstrous creation where, the father lion has to be, the father has to be the lion, the mother has to be the tiger, because the lion has that growth gene, and that's why it's not stopped. Where the lion female has a gene that alters that giantism growth and will stop it. So, and it's just the mankind created that cat and can only keep creating it, that way. And like the mule, or what is it, the donkeys, it's a horse and a mule. The mule, all right. So the donkey and the horse has the mule, and it's born sterile. So the only way to make another one would be to breed again, or to implant. So, it's interesting. And the cattle mutilations, they take the cows, but, the cows, their genes are a lot like human. What is it, like 1 chromosome away or something, Matt?
A couple, but yeah, they're very, very, very close. That's why we can metabolize their milk better than...
Right. And that's why they use cattle. Even in that show Fringe, you notice that Walter takes a cow, and he uses a cow, because of that exact reason. And so the cattle does make sense. They take whatever they need to help with their scientific work.
Well, it definitely sounds like something that we'd like to have you back on in the future to explore more in depth, because, like I said, I hope that it never happens to me, but I'm fascinated to hear the stories of those that it does happen to. And, of course, if you want to hear stories for yourself, you have to go to Experience to Speak on September 8th in Gorham, Maine. It's going to be your chance to see all these people in one location, to talk to them, to find out more about this phenomena, and to find out, exactly what it is that you have questions about. out of all these people there, they're going to be able to at least offer you up what they've been told as their answers.
And it's,
and everybody, like I said, will be available for questioning and autographs and just, all around good conversation. So it's going to be a great day.
Plus,
and
it's a bunch of cool people anyway, even aside from.
Well, it's also going to be a great place for the family members of abductees.
And I think you guys should do the show right from there. It's a Saturday night.
Maybe we can work that out. The problem is we have to have somebody back here to do this. So maybe we'll have Moniz up there broadcasting, and I'll be back here running the stuff.
He's going to be there anyway, so you might as well give him something to do.
Might as well have him do some work. Although I did see that a good member of the Spooky family, Christian White's going to be there too. So we'll be well represented up there.
Good.
And so, again, if you want to find out more, just go to the Experiencers Speak Facebook page. You can also get to that by going to the Starborn support site, starbornsupport.com. And, Audrey, we thank you for coming on. We'll talk to you again real soon.
Okay. Have a great night, guys.
And we made it through with no problems.
Bye, guys. All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Of course, we made it through because we weren't tempting fate by doing an entire show either. So, And now we're just going to wait for Chris Balzano to call in. He can do so now. And we'll talk with him about this idea of the Balzano Curse. I mean, this is something that Chris and I have talked about off the air, and it's something that he's been just getting into the public realm with right now. But let's introduce him first as the author of the latest book, Haunted Objects, Stories of Ghosts on Your Shelf, along with his handsome and talented co-author, who shall remain nameless. But thank you for joining us on the show, oh big star, now that you are out there on the Media Whirlwind Tour.
Oh, yeah, that's me. Reaping the whirlwind, as Emily Westovez says.
I can't believe now that you still have time for us.
Of course. My first priority is now and always will be the spooky Southcoast. As a matter of fact, I drugged my wife to get her asleep tonight just to come on the show, only to be thwarted by the Sox.
Well, I appreciate. I just got your text. I appreciate the idea of that we should be staying with that discussion that we were having with Audrey, but I actually want to save it so that we can do it for an entire show. I would love to have her and her sister join us, and Moniz, of course, who has worked with them over the years, and have an entire show where we can really just dedicate it. I was afraid that even sticking with it in the time that we have left, we wouldn't be able to do the topic enough justice. So
I think as a content director, I was thinking I think there are a lot of people out there that don't know exactly what UFO people do.
Mm-hmm.
We always hear the aftermath. We always hear their stories. We always hear the connections that are made talking about years gone by. We really need to delve into what a UFO hunter or a UFO runner does. And that would be a great show.
Well, we'll definitely put that on the slate for the future. We'll let our content director know about that. But we want to we want to introduce people tonight to the idea of this Balzano Curse, and this is what you were talking to me about earlier. Is you kind of want to put it out there, and talk a little bit about why it is that you feel that you were cursed, and then we can kind of let people, offer up their insights, their opinions, their services, whatever it is that it may be, and then we can revisit this topic on a future episode. But I know we've talked about it off the air, but tell the people out there and share only what you're comfortable in sharing, but talk about the fact that you think that you're cursed.
Well, it's really interesting. I lead such an odd life that, and it's funny, the people around me kind of have just grown to deal with it. So it becomes one of those things where we just kind of wink and nod and say, yep, Balzano Curse again. And it really is a crazy kind of thing. And it's never anything horrendous, although there have been some horrendous things. But it's always this low-level wackiness.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a series of misfortunes. And it's one of those things where, and we've talked a lot about this as we've together done our whirlwind tour of the book, how many coincidences does it take for you to start raising an eyebrow and being like, that is ridiculous. And so we came up with this idea when we were doing Spooky Crossroads one night to have a show.
Wednesdays, 10 p.m., Spooky TV.
Wednesdays, 10 p.m., where we talk about, okay, here's the symptoms of the curse. Here are some of the things that have kind of happened, and now cure me. Can someone break this curse? And I thought it was really odd. We had one canceled tonight, and so it was like, because this week I have been inundated. I did Darkness Radio, Darkness on the Edge of Town, like their live show this week, and I have been inundated with emails from people because I spoke of the story we get into in the book about Jackie Barrett and Ryan DeFeo and the spirits or the dark figures and the complete craziness that happened to me while I was deciding whether or not to write that book. And I've had a ton of response from people who want to perform exorcisms on me and deliver me and offer me advice on how to break this. And I'm like, this is kind of weird. My initial reaction is, no, don't stay away from me. I don't really kind of believe in that stuff. But, this curse kind of still lingers. This kind of weird
I was going to say, aren't
stuff.
you giving it credence, though, by even thinking in your head that it could be all related? Aren't you, even if there isn't a direct curse placed on you, aren't you kind of creating one?
Well, and that's does it become its own thought form? Does it become something that kind of roams in the night, and does it make me more prone to do the stupid thing? Mm-hmm. Did I did I drop the cookies by accident or whatever the thing is from the Matrix? But it's one of those things where it's there regardless, and it's often other people that point it out to me, and then I make the connection in my head. So I think to some degree I do, and it becomes, if you will, the puckwudgie of my own life. Like anything that goes wrong is part of this kind of overwhelming curse. But
now that it's outside of you, maybe you need an outside force to cure it.
What do you mean by that?
Well, now that it's become something more than just what's internal for yourself, like, for example, if you thought it was bad luck might be something you keep into yourself, and you're like,
right.
Wow, I'm just really the unluckiest guy, or I'm the clumsiest guy, or, whatever it might be. But whereas you vocalized it and you've given it this title of being a curse and other people have picked up on it, then maybe it's something that exists now outside of you. And so it's going to need somebody's abilities to kind of to get rid of it. I mean, maybe it's gone beyond the point of where you can just control it. You know what I mean? Because you've given it voice now, so it's no longer under your control. So you can't just decide to get rid of it.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am, and it's like, it's not just a catchy topic for its show. It's like, okay, let's see if there really is something out there. I mean, what kind of people can come out to break a curse? What kind of people can, are they Christians? Are they Wiccan? Are they people with psychic ability? Who is the kind of person who can break a curse? And more importantly, can they do it long distance without coming to my house?
Well, yeah, that's the key part. But because, of course, if you go to Chris's house, it might rub off on you. But isn't the big part of them being able to fix this curse, reverse the curse? Isn't it you having to be willing to have faith and have belief in the cure?
We've talked about this in terms of being a demon fighter,
mm-hmm.
like so many people out there, and for better or worse, they're out there, they're doing it, and they're putting themselves in that. And I always say, don't come see me because I don't have enough faith in anything to. So it's one of those things where whoever would do this would have to be strong enough and convincing to me enough to actually work on my subconscious anyway. Whether it be effective or whether it be placebo, they'd have to get through my kind of cynical defenses first.
Well, I think that there are probably some people listening to this right now who would be willing to give that a go. And, of course, they should get a hold of you probably via email. Would that be best?
Yeah, via email, via Facebook. Call. Well, will I also be kicked off if someone calls into the show right now?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
And plus we only have a few minutes remaining in the program, so.
Okay.
But yeah, Spooky Crew at SpookySouthcoast.com. That email would go directly to Chris. Also, Balzano at SpookySouthcoast.com will go directly to him as well. I mean,
and I'm hoping that as this reaches podcast as well, that people will take that initiative as well, because I think this is one of those things where I want to put it out there for all kinds of different people to see if they can break this.
I mean, are you willing to go and get a live chicken and cut its head off and dance in its blood?
No. When this was initially diagnosed, and it was diagnosed by 2 different psychics who I happened to go to, who were like, "Whoa, what's up with you?" One of the first ones, I usually, by almost kind of like unwritten law, I'm not supposed to say bad things as you're getting this like fun little reading.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, what's up with you? And one of those people suggested this kind of elaborate bath in ointments and incense and stuff like that, and I didn't do that.
So if you didn't do that, you're certainly not going to dance in chicken blood. We've only got about 3 minutes left, but I got to ask you this, and you've talked about it on Spooky Crossroads, so I'm going to throw it out there now. But didn't you feel that part of the origination of this might have come with an ex-girlfriend?
Yeah, I mean that's at least kind of the active part of the curse. I mean, when you look back, it's kind of like there were some other things that happened pre that. There were some very weird near-death experiences that I had, and I don't mean near-death as in go to the light. I mean near-death as in like I should have been dead and nothing happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But it really, at least from these 2 psychics, especially point of view, it began with an ex-girlfriend of mine. She was Wiccan. She was extremely active. She was extremely crazy. And, I would say it was a very volatile relationship, very venomous relationship, and it eventually broke off. And when it broke off, at least, she was very angry. I remember she actually threw a copy of Anne Wright's book at my head and then, dumped this perfume I gave her all over my door, almost as if she was, like, cleansing it with obsession. And both of these psychics had very similar, they both narrowed it down to her, even though they didn't know her.
Did you try contacting her and asking her to get rid of it?
No. I made contact with her, and so a lot of people who are friends of the show have heard me tell the story of contacting her to ask her a question while I was writing Ghosts of the Bridgewater Triangle, and it didn't go well. And one of the psychics actually said, "Don't approach her about this. It'll make it worse." But what they both had said was, it's one of those things where there needs to be a lot of energy. And what they both kind of identified was this very odd void, which was formed in my stomach. And
got about a minute left, Chris, just so you know.
Okay, and my aura was kind of being sucked into this vortex, and it made me very susceptible to bad things that would happen around me. But it also made it so that there was something kind of dim about my person, so that I would never have lasting relationships. People would become very intensely into me, but both male and female, like not necessarily in like a boyfriend-girlfriend kind of way, and then fade. And they wouldn't be able to identify why they had stopped wanting to be with me. They would just stop. And that's kind of been the story of my life for many a year.
Well,
and
I was going to say, you haven't gotten rid of me yet, and so that might be your ultimate curse right there.
Yeah, there's quite a distance between us, though, isn't there? You really can't see my aura from where you are.
Oh, you'd be surprised. Well, we are out of time, though, Chris. So if people want to get involved and find out more about this, talk to you more about this, and offer up their solutions, they can find you on Facebook, Christopher Balzano. They can also email us, spookycrew@spookysouthcoast.com. We are up against it here for the end of this show. We will be back next week. Hopefully the Sox will play a little bit nicer and we can get on earlier. We didn't even get to address the fact that it is the 120th anniversary today of the Andrew and Abby Borden murders. So definitely check out all the information about that on...
Tom Fusco next week.
Tom Fusco next week?
Yes.
All right, so we'll get back into the discussion about the paranormal, deep inside the paranormal, next Saturday night. So until then, for Matt Moniz, for Matt Costa, for Chris Balzano, for Katie, who's in here with us tonight, we want you all to stay spooktacular.
The station the South Coast turns to for news, sports, and weather. WBSM New Bedford, AM 1420, WBSM.